Man collapses at event and is rescued by his ex-girlfriend, but when his fiancée arrives, Michael Richardson felt his heart racing as he held the microphone in the elegant hall of the Manhattan Athletic Club. His fiancée Emily smiled radiantly beside him, wearing a black dress that enhanced her natural beauty, while over 200 guests awaited the engagement speech of the successful real estate businessman. "Friends, family," he began, but the words felt heavy in his mouth. "Today is a very special day for me and Emily." His voice began to falter, his face turned pale, and suddenly his legs gave way. The microphone slipped from his hands and he collapsed on the marble floor, causing a loud thud that echoed throughout the hall. The silence was broken by Emily's screams. "Michael! Michael! Answer me!" She knelt beside her fiancé, her hands trembling, not knowing what to do. The guests rose in panic, some shouting to call an ambulance, others approaching to try to help. It was then that a familiar figure emerged from the crowd. Jennifer Parker made her way through the people, her brown hair swaying as she moved with a determination that contrasted with the surrounding chaos. She wore a golden dress that shimmered under the chandelier lights, and her expression was one of pure professional concentration. "Please, let me through. I'm a doctor," she said authoritatively, making the guests automatically step aside. Emily looked up, her eyes widening as she recognized who was there. It was Jennifer, Michael's ex-girlfriend, the one she knew only from old photographs he had forgotten in drawers. The same woman her future mother-in-law spoke about with a nostalgic tone that always bothered her. Jennifer knelt beside Michael with precise and confident movements. Her hands touched his neck, searching for a pulse, then moved to his face, checking his vital signs with the experience of someone who did this every day. "He's having a heart arrhythmia," said Jennifer without looking at Emily. "His pulse is very irregular. We need to call an ambulance now." "I already called," shouted someone from the crowd. Emily watched every movement of Jennifer, a strange feeling growing in her chest. There was something in the way the ex-girlfriend touched Michael, an intimacy that went beyond the professional. It was as if she knew exactly where to look, as if she knew that body better than any doctor should know a patient. "Michael, can you hear me?" Jennifer spoke softly, close to his ear, her voice filled with a concern that made Emily shiver. Suddenly, Michael opened his eyes slowly, confused and disoriented. His gaze wandered across the ceiling of the hall before settling on the face leaning over him. "Jennifer," he murmured, his voice weak and hoarse. "What are you doing here?" Emily's heart stopped. It wasn't her name he had called upon waking. It was the name of the ex-girlfriend. Tears began to form in her eyes, but she tried to control herself, telling herself that he was confused, that it meant nothing. "Stay calm, Michael. You fainted." "But I'm here," replied Jennifer, her hand gently touching his face. "The ambulance is already on its way." "No, I don't want to go to the hospital," he said, trying to sit up. "Yes, you do need to go. Your heart is beating irregularly." "This could be dangerous," Jennifer insisted, gently pressing him to remain lying down. Emily finally found her voice. "Jennifer, isn't it? Thank you for helping, but I'll take care of him now. I'm the fiancé." Jennifer looked at her for the first time, her brown eyes assessing the younger woman. "Of course, but as a doctor, I need to ensure he gets to the hospital safely. I'm a cardiologist, and from what I'm seeing, he needs specialized care immediately." "A cardiologist?" Emily repeated, surprised. "Michael never told me you were—" "Jennifer," Michael interrupted, his voice still weak. "You shouldn't be here." "I was at the party, Michael. I was invited by the Williams family. They're my patients," Jennifer explained, maintaining her professional composure. "And it's a good thing I was here because you need urgent medical attention." The ambulance arrived just a few minutes later, and the paramedics quickly took control of the situation. While they prepared Michael for transport, Jennifer spoke with them about the observed symptoms, using medical terms that Emily didn't fully understand. "I'm going with him in the ambulance," said Emily, determined. "I need to go too," Jennifer added. "As a cardiologist, I can provide important information for the hospital team." "That's not necessary," Emily replied, her patience wearing thin. "I'm his fiancée. I'll take care of him." "Emily," Michael said weakly from the stretcher. "Let her come, please." Once again, it wasn't to her that he was asking something. It was about Jennifer. Emily felt as if a knife had been plunged into her chest, but she agreed silently, knowing that arguing there in front of everyone would only make the situation worse. During the ride to Mercy General Hospital, Emily watched Jennifer talking with the paramedics about Michael's condition. She seemed to know details about his health that not even Emily knew. "Does he have a family history of heart problems?" asked one of the paramedics. "Yes, his father had a heart attack at 55, Jennifer answered without hesitation, "and he's had episodes of tachycardia since he was 30. Emily looked at Jennifer in surprise, and then at Michael, who was conscious but weak. "You have tachycardia. Why did you never tell me?" Michael avoided her gaze. "It's nothing serious. It only happens when I'm very stressed." "How do you know about this?" Emily asked Jennifer, her voice filled with suspicion. Jennifer hesitated for a moment before answering. "Michael has been having appointments with me for the last 3 months. He sought my help because he was having frequent episodes. Emily's world seemed to collapse." "Appointments? What appointments?" "Michael, you've been seeing your ex-girlfriend for 3 months and didn't tell me." "Emily, I can explain," Michael said, trying to sit up on the stretcher, but being restrained by the paramedic. "Explain what?" she replied, her voice rising. "That you were secretly meeting with your ex? That you hid from me that you have heart problems? That you lied to me for months?" "It's not what you're thinking," Jennifer interjected. "They were professional medical appointments. Michael came to me because he was having frequent palpitations and found out I had specialized in cardiology." "And why didn't you tell me?" Emily asked Michael directly, tears streaming down her face. "We're getting married, Michael. We should share everything." "Because I didn't want to worry you," he answered, his voice almost a whisper. "And because it's complicated." "Complicated how?" Emily insisted. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, please take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It really helps us who are just starting out. Now continuing. "Jennifer is the best cardiologist in the city," Michael said, closing his eyes. "When I started having symptoms, a few people recommended her to me. I tried to book with other doctors, but she was truly the most qualified." "And you didn't think it was important to tell me about this?" Emily questioned, her voice trembling with emotion. "I was going to tell you," Michael murmured, "after the wedding." Emily fell silent for the rest of the ride, processing everything that had happened. The way Jennifer knew the medical details about Michael, how she had appeared at the party, how he had called her name when he woke up. Everything seemed connected in a way that made her question whether she truly knew the man she was about to marry. At the hospital, Michael was immediately taken to the emergency room, where a medical team examined him. Jennifer accompanied the doctors, providing information about the patient's recent history, while Emily stayed in the waiting room, alone and confused. Half an hour later, Jennifer came out of the emergency room and approached Emily. "He's stable, but he'll need some more detailed tests. The electrocardiogram shows irregularities that need to be investigated." "Thank you for the information," Emily said coldly, without looking at Jennifer. "Emily, I know this must be difficult for you, but you need to understand that my relationship with Michael is purely professional now." "Purely professional?" Emily finally looked at her. "You know details about him that even I, his fiancée, don't know. You showed up at a party where you weren't expected and helped him as if you were the most important person in the world to him. And he called your name when he woke up, not mine." Jennifer sighed, sitting down next to Emily. "I understand your concern and you have every right to feel this way, but the truth is, Michael sought me out because he trusts me as a doctor. We have a past, yes, but that's in the past." "How long were you two together?" Emily asked. 4 years. We broke up 5 years ago." "Why did you break up?" Jennifer hesitated. "Irreconcilable differences. Our paths went in different directions." Emily studied Jennifer's face, looking for signs of dishonesty, but the cardiologist maintained a neutral and professional expression. Still, something about the way Jennifer spoke about Michael deeply bothered her. "Miss Emily," a nurse approached. "Mr. Richardson is asking to see you." Emily quickly stood up and followed the nurse to the room where Michael was staying. He was connected to several machines, but seemed more alert than before. "How are you feeling?" she asked, approaching the bed. "Better. The doctors said I need to do some tests tomorrow," he replied, taking her hand. "Emily, about Jennifer." "I don't want to talk about that now," she interrupted. "You need to rest." "But I need to explain," Michael insisted. "I didn't tell you about the appointments because I knew you'd be upset, and you were right to be. I just don't understand why you hid this from me. We're getting married, Michael. How can I trust you if you hide important things from me?" "You can trust me," he said, squeezing her hand. "I love you, Emily. It's you I want to marry." "Then why did you call her name when you woke up?" Michael closed his eyes, clearly uncomfortable with the question. "I was confused. I didn't know where I was. No, she was the person taking care of me at that moment." "Or maybe she was the person you wanted to be taking care of you," Emily said softly. "That's not true," Michael protested. "Emily, you're the woman of my life. What I had with Jennifer ended a long time ago." Before Emily could respond, the door to the room opened and an elegant woman of about 60 entered. It was Patricia Richardson, Michael's mother, known for her strong personality and well-defined opinions. "My son," she exclaimed, rushing to the bed. "I got a call from Margaret saying you had fainted. How are you?" "I'm fine, Mom. It was just a scare," Michael tried to reassure her. Patricia finally noticed Emily standing on the other side of the bed. "Oh, Emily, dear, you must be worried." "I am, Mrs. Richardson," Emily replied politely. "Where's Jennifer?" Patricia asked, looking around the room. "Margaret told me she was here and that she was the one who helped him." Emily's heart sank. The mother-in-law was looking for Jennifer, not asking how she, the bride, was feeling. "She's in the waiting room," Michael answered, "talking with the doctors about the tests I need to do." "What a relief to know she was there," Patricia sighed. "Jennifer has always been so competent. When I found out she had become a cardiologist, I was so proud. Such a smart and dedicated young lady." Emily felt every word like a stab. The way Mrs. Richardson spoke about Jennifer made it clear she still held special affection for her son's ex-girlfriend. "I'll call her here," Patricia said, heading toward the door. "Mom, maybe it's not necessary," Michael tried to stop her. "Of course it's necessary. I need to thank her for taking such good care of you." Patricia left the room, leaving Michael and Emily alone again. The silence between them was heavy, filled with unspoken things and unresolved tensions. "Your mother really likes Jennifer," Emily observed, trying to keep her voice neutral. "My mother likes competent people," Michael answered diplomatically. "Is that all?" Emily stared at him. "Because the way she talks, it seems like Jennifer is almost part of the family." "Emily, please, let's not turn this into a discussion about Jennifer and my mother. I'm in the hospital, I just had a heart problem, and all you want to talk about is my ex-girlfriend." "Maybe because your ex-girlfriend seems to be more present in your life than I imagined," Emily retorted. The door opened again and Patricia entered, accompanied by Jennifer. The cardiologist seemed hesitant, clearly uncomfortable with the situation. "Jennifer, dear," Patricia hugged her warmly. "I don't know how to thank you for what you did today. If you hadn't been there—" "I just did my job, Mrs. Richardson," Jennifer answered, returning the hug briefly before stepping back. "Your job?" Patricia laughed. "Dear, you saved my son. That goes far beyond a job." Emily watched the interaction, feeling like an intruder in her own life. The closeness between Jennifer and Mrs. Richardson was evident, as if they had kept in touch even after the relationship ended. "How are the tests?" Patricia asked Jennifer. "The doctors will do an echo tomorrow morning and a 24-hour Holter," Jennifer explained. "Based on what I observed and the family history, there's a possibility he might need more specific treatment." "What kind of treatment?" Emily asked, inserting herself into the conversation. "He might need specific medication or, in more serious cases, a pacemaker," Jennifer answered professionally. "A pacemaker?" Patricia repeated, alarmed. "But he's so young." "Age isn't a determining factor," Jennifer explained patiently. "The important thing is to ensure the heart maintains a proper rhythm. But let's wait for the test results before drawing any conclusions." "And will you be following the case?" Patricia asked hopefully. Jennifer looked from Michael to Emily, clearly uncomfortable. That depends on what Michael and Emily want. There are other excellent cardiologists at the hospital. But you are the best, Patricia insisted, and you know his history better than anyone. Mrs. Richardson, Emily finally spoke, her patience wearing thin. Perhaps we should let Michael rest. It's been a very difficult day for him. Of course, dear. You're right, Patricia agreed, but not hiding her irritation with the interruption. Jennifer, could you have dinner with me tomorrow? I'd like to talk more about Michael's treatment. Jennifer looked at Emily again. Maybe it's not appropriate. Nonsense. You will always be welcome in my home, Patricia said firmly. Emily felt something inside her break. The mother-in-law was inviting her son's ex-girlfriend to dinner, as if nothing had changed, as if she didn't exist. I think we should all go home, Michael said, sensing the tension in the air. Tomorrow will be a long day with the tests, Jennifer agreed quickly. He's right, Michael needs to rest and the tests will require him to be in good spirits. I'm going to stay here with him, Emily announced. You don't have to, Michael said. The doctor said I can be discharged tomorrow after the tests. Go home and rest. I want to stay, Emily insisted. Emily, Jennifer approached. Can I speak with you for a moment? In private? Emily hesitated, but eventually agreed. They left the room and walked to a more secluded area of the hallway. I know this is hard for you, Jennifer began, and I understand your concern, but I want you to know that I have no intention of interfering in your relationship. Then why did you agree to have dinner with his mother? Emily asked directly. I didn't agree. And I won't agree, Jennifer replied. Mrs. Richardson can be persistent, but you're right. It wouldn't be appropriate. Why did you two break up, Jennifer? Emily asked suddenly. And don't tell me it was irreconcilable differences. I want to know the truth. Jennifer sighed, running her hand through her hair. The truth is complicated. Try to explain it to me simply. Michael wanted to get married. I wanted to do my medical residency in the United States. At the time, we thought our careers were more important than the relationship. And now, Emily pressed, do you still think your career is more important? Jennifer was silent for a long moment. Now I know that some things in life don't come back, no matter how much you want them to. Does that mean you wanted it to come back? It means I've learned to accept the choices I made, Jennifer replied evasively. Emily studied Jennifer's face, looking for signs of sincerity. There was something in the cardiologist's expression that she couldn't decipher, a mix of professionalism and melancholy that made her even more insecure. Jennifer, I need to ask you directly, do you still have feelings for Michael? The question hung in the air between them, heavy and inevitable. Jennifer looked at Emily for a long moment before answering. Emily, I'm not going to lie to you. Michael was an important part of my life, but that was 5 years ago. A lot has changed since then. That doesn't answer my question. My feelings don't matter, Jennifer said firmly. What matters is that Michael chose you. He's engaged to you, he's going to marry you. My medical consultations with him have been professional, and that's how they will remain. And if I don't want you to continue treating him? Emily asked. That's a decision for the two of you, Jennifer replied. But as a doctor, I can say he needs specialized follow-up. If not with me, then with another qualified cardiologist. Emily nodded slowly. Jennifer was being professional and respectful, but there was still something bothering her, a feeling that not everything was being said. Thank you for being honest, Emily said finally. And thank you for giving us a chance to talk, Jennifer replied. I know it's not easy. They returned to the room where Michael was speaking softly with his mother. The conversation stopped when they entered, and Emily had the feeling they had been talking about her or about Jennifer. It's time for us to go, Jennifer announced. Michael, the doctors will begin the tests at 8 in the morning. Try to get some sleep. Thank you, Jennifer, for everything today, Michael said, his eyes meeting hers for a moment longer than Emily would have liked. No need to thank me, Jennifer replied softly. After Jennifer and Mrs. Richardson left, Emily was alone with Michael. The silence between them was different now, filled with doubts and insecurities that hadn't been there that morning. Do you still love her? Emily asked suddenly, unable to contain herself. Michael looked at her surprised. What? Jennifer, do you still love her? Emily, what kind of question is that? It's a simple question that deserves a simple answer, she insisted. Michael sighed, running his hands over his face. Emily, I love you. That's why I'm engaged to you. That doesn't answer my question. Of course it does, Michael said impatiently. If I loved Jennifer, I wouldn't be engaged to you. People can love more than one person at the same time, Emily observed. The question is whether you still feel something for her. Michael was silent for a long moment, and that silence said more to Emily than any words could. I thought I knew, he finally said. I thought I had completely moved on. But seeing her today, how she helped me, how she still cares, it's confusing. Emily felt tears forming in her eyes. So you admit you still feel something for her? I feel gratitude, Michael said carefully, and maybe nostalgia. We had 4 years together, Emily. That's not something you easily forget. Nostalgia, Emily repeated bitterly. Is that what you call it? What do you want me to call it? Michael asked, frustrated. Emily, you're making a mountain out of a molehill. I didn't choose to get sick. I didn't choose for Jennifer to be at the party. I didn't choose any of what happened today. But you chose to have secret appointments with her for 3 months, because she's an excellent cardiologist, Michael exclaimed. And because I trust her. Do you trust her more than me? They're different things, Michael replied. I trust her as a doctor. I trust you as the woman of my life. Emily sat in the chair next to the bed, emotionally and physically exhausted. The day had begun with the expectation of a beautiful and romantic engagement, and was ending with doubts about their relationship and their future marriage. Michael, I need time to process all this, she said after a long silence. Time for what? He asked, alarmed. To understand what's happening, to understand if you really want to marry me, or if you're just following a plan because it's expected. Of course I want to marry you, Michael said, taking her hand. Emily, don't let one difficult day destroy everything we've built together. It's not just one difficult day, she replied, withdrawing her hand. It's discovering that you hid important things from me. It's seeing how your mother treats Jennifer as if she were still part of the family. It's realizing that maybe I don't know you as well as I thought. You know me, Michael insisted, better than anyone. Then why do I feel like a stranger in my own life? Emily asked, standing up. I'm going home, Michael. I need to think. Emily, don't leave like this. Let's talk about this. Not today, she said, picking up her purse. Today you need to rest and I need space. She leaned over and kissed his forehead gently. I love you, Michael. That's why this hurts so much. Emily left the hospital with a heavy heart and a confused mind. The drive to her home in the Upper East Side was silent, only the sound of nighttime traffic accompanying her tumultuous thoughts. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, please take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It really helps us who are just starting out, now continuing. At home, Emily sat on the living room sofa, still wearing the black dress she had carefully chosen for the engagement party. Her best friend, Jessica, called shortly after, concerned about the news that had circulated among the guests. Emily, how is Michael? I heard he fainted during the speech, Jessica asked as soon as Emily answered. He's fine. He'll be staying at the hospital until tomorrow for some tests, Emily replied, her voice sounding more tired than she intended. And how are you? It must have been frightening. Emily hesitated. Jessica had been her closest friend since college, the only person who knew all her fears and insecurities. If she could open up to anyone, it was Jessica. Jess, I need to tell you something. Jennifer was at the party. Jennifer, Michael's ex, what was she doing there? Apparently, she was invited by the Williamses, and she was the one who helped Michael when he fainted. Wow, Jessica murmured. That must have been uncomfortable. Uncomfortable is an understatement, Emily laughed bitterly. Jessica, she's a cardiologist, and Michael has been seeing her for consultations for 3 months. He never told me. On the other end of the line, there was a long silence. Wait, he was secretly seeing his ex-girlfriend for medical appointments. He says he went to her because he was having palpitations, and she's the best cardiologist in the city. That it was strictly professional. And do you believe that? I don't know what to believe anymore, Emily admitted. the way she knew details about him, how his mother treated her like family. And when he woke up after fainting, it was her name he called, not mine. "Oh, Emily," Jessica sighed. "This is complicated. And there's more. His mother invited her to dinner tomorrow, right in front of me, as if I didn't exist. Mrs. Richardson has always been particular," Jessica said diplomatically. Everyone who knew the family knew Patricia Richardson was a hard woman to please. "Jessica, do you think I'm overreacting?" Emily asked. "Maybe I'm being paranoid." "I don't think you're overreacting," Jessica replied honestly. "If it were me, I'd be worried too. Medical appointments are one thing, but hiding it from your fiancé is something else entirely. He said he didn't tell me because he didn't want to worry me." "And do you believe that?" Emily thought for a moment. "Part of me wants to, but another part thinks he didn't tell me because he knew I'd be uncomfortable with him regularly seeing his ex-girlfriend." "Probably both things are true," Jessica observed. "The question is, what are you going to do now?" "I don't know," Emily admitted. "Tomorrow he has his tests and Jennifer will probably be overseeing his case. I don't know how to handle this." "You could ask him to switch doctors." "I could, but what if she really is the best? What if he needs specialized care? Am I going to be the fiancé who put jealousy above his health?" "Emily, your feelings are valid," Jessica said firmly. "It's not irrational jealousy when your fiancé is secretly meeting with his ex-girlfriend, even if it's professionally." Emily sighed, feeling the weight of the day on her shoulders. "Jess, do you think he still loves her?" "I don't know, honey, but I know he chose you. He's going to marry you. But choosing for convenience is different from choosing for love. Do you think he's with you out of convenience?" Emily thought about the question. Michael had always been affectionate, attentive, and seemed genuinely happy with her. But now, after seeing the way he looked at Jennifer, how he knew details he had hidden from her, she began to question whether she really knew the man she was about to marry. "I didn't think so," she answered finally, "but now I'm not sure of anything." The next morning, Emily woke up early after a restless night. She had decided to go to the hospital to accompany Michael during his tests, regardless of her personal doubts. It was her responsibility as his fiancée to be there during difficult times. She arrived at the hospital at 7:30 in the morning and found Michael awake, talking to a nurse about the day's procedures. "Good morning," she said, approaching the bed. "Good morning, love," he replied, smiling with relief. "I thought you wouldn't come." "Of course I would come," Emily said, kissing his face. "How did you sleep?" "Poorly," Michael admitted. "I'm worried about these tests, and about us." "About us, we'll talk later," Emily said. "Today the focus is your health." A few minutes later, Jennifer arrived at the room accompanied by Dr. Robert White, the hospital's chief cardiologist. She greeted Emily politely before turning to Michael. "How are you feeling?" she asked professionally. "Much better," Michael replied. "Anxious to know the test results." "Dr. White will oversee the procedures with me," Jennifer explained. "He's the head of cardiology and has much more experience than I do." Emily felt relieved to know another doctor would be involved. Perhaps that would lessen the intimacy of the situation. "Dr. White, this is the patient we discussed yesterday," Jennifer said, introducing Michael. "Family history of heart problems, frequent episodes of tachycardia, and yesterday he had an episode of arrhythmia during a social event." "I see," Dr. White said, approaching Michael. "Mr. Richardson, we'll run some tests to better understand what's happening with your heart. Dr. Parker gave me your history, but I'd like you to tell me about the symptoms you've been experiencing." Michael began describing the palpitations, the feeling of shortness of breath during stressful situations, and the fatigue he had felt in recent weeks. Emily listened attentively, realizing he had hidden much more from her than just the appointments with Jennifer. "Why didn't you tell me about the fatigue?" she asked when the doctors left to prepare for the tests. "I didn't want to worry you," Michael replied automatically. "Michael, stop saying that," Emily said, frustrated. "We're getting married. Worrying is part of the commitment. You can't keep hiding things from me." "You're right," he admitted. "It's been hard for me to accept that I need help. I've always been an independent person who handles everything on my own." "But you didn't handle it on your own," Emily observed. "You sought help. You just didn't seek mine." Michael fell silent, clearly uncomfortable with the observation. The door opened and Jennifer returned with a technician to take Michael for the first test. "We'll start with the echocardiogram," Jennifer explained. "It will take about an hour." "Can I come along?" Emily asked. "Of course," Jennifer replied, "if Michael agrees." "I'd like you to come," Michael said, taking Emily's hand. During the test, Emily watched Jennifer work. She was clearly competent and experienced, explaining each procedure to both Michael and the technician. There was something reassuring about how she conducted the exam, a confidence that inspired trust. "I can see some irregularities," Jennifer murmured to Dr. White, pointing to something on the screen that Emily couldn't understand. "Yes, here too," he agreed. "We'll need the Holter for a more complete picture." After the echocardiogram, they fitted Michael with the Holter monitor, a small device that would record his heartbeats for 24 hours. "Now you go home and do your normal activities," Jennifer explained. "The device will record everything and tomorrow we'll analyze the results." "Do normal activities include emotional stress?" Michael asked, looking meaningfully at Emily. "It includes everything," Jennifer replied, ignoring the implication. "Work, light exercise, conversations, everything you'd normally do." "Great," Michael murmured. After they left the hospital, Michael and Emily went to his apartment in Greenwich Village. The silence in the car was heavy, both lost in their own thoughts. "Do you want to get some lunch?" Michael asked when they reached the apartment. "I'm not hungry," Emily answered, sitting on the living room sofa. Michael sat beside her, careful not to dislodge the cardiac monitor cables. "Emily, we need to talk about all this." "I know," she sighed. "I just don't know where to start." "How about we start with the truth?" Michael suggested. "No more secrets, no more omissions." "All right," Emily agreed. "Then tell me, when you first sought out Jennifer 3 months ago, was it really just because of the heart symptoms?" Michael hesitated, and that hesitation was enough for Emily to know there was more to the story. "Yes and no," he finally said. "I was having the symptoms, and several people recommended her. But if it had been any other doctor, I probably would have found a way to avoid it." "Then why didn't you avoid it?" "Because I was afraid," Michael admitted. "Afraid it might be something serious, like what happened with my father. And Jennifer has always been... she's always been someone I could completely trust." "More than me?" "Different from you," Michael corrected. "Emily, you're the woman I love, the one I chose to share my life with. But Jennifer and I have a history, a mutual understanding that comes from years together. She knows me in a way no one else does." "Including me?" Emily asked, feeling a pain in her chest. "Including you," Michael admitted painfully. "But that doesn't mean I love her more than I love you." "How can I be sure of that?" Michael looked at her for a long moment. "Do you want me to be completely honest?" "Yes. When I saw Jennifer yesterday, when she was taking care of me, I felt nostalgia, longing for how easy it was to be with her, for how she understood me without me having to explain anything." Emily felt tears burning her eyes. "And that doesn't tell you anything about your feelings for her?" "It tells me that we had something special," Michael answered. "But it also tells me that's part of the past. Emily, I can feel nostalgic for what we had without wanting to go back." "How can you be sure?" "Because in these 5 years I've built a new life. I met you, fell in love with you, decided I want to marry you." Michael took her hands. "If I wanted to be with Jennifer, I would have pursued her long before I met you." "But you didn't pursue her because she was in the United States doing her residency," Emily observed. "She left," Michael corrected. "She left, Emily, chose her career over me. Even if I had waited, that wouldn't change the fact that she made a choice." "What if she hadn't left? What if she had stayed?" Michael fell silent for a long moment, clearly wrestling with the question. "I don't know," he finally said. "Maybe things would have been different." But they weren't. "She left, I moved on, and now I'm with you. By choice or by circumstance?" "The two get mixed up, don't they?" Michael answered. "Life is made of circumstances, and the choices we make within those circumstances. The circumstance was Jennifer leaving. The choice was opening myself up to meet you." Emily processed his words, trying to find comfort in them, but still feeling a deep insecurity. "Michael, I need to know. If Jennifer said today that she wants to try again, would you consider it? The question hung in the air between them like a bomb about to explode. Michael looked at Emily, then looked away, then met her gaze again. Do you want me to lie or be honest? Honest, Emily said, bracing for the pain. It would be confusing, Michael admitted, because part of me will always wonder, what if? But Emily, that doesn't change the fact that I chose to build a future with you. Chose or settled? Chose, Michael said firmly. And I choose every day. When I wake up beside you, when I plan our wedding, when I imagine our life together, these are choices, Emily, not compromises. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, please take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It really helps those of us just starting out. Now, continuing, Emily rose from the couch and walked to the window, looking down at Greenwich Village beach below. Michael's words were comforting, but there was still a part of her that wondered if they were enough. What if I asked you to switch doctors? She asked without turning around. I would switch, Michael answered without hesitation. If it were important to you, I would switch. But don't you think you should? I think I should do what's best for our relationship, Michael said. If my health is causing problems between us, then health isn't just physical. Emily turned to look at him. That's not fair to me. You're putting the responsibility of the decision on me. If I say to switch, I'll be the jealous fiancé who put her feelings above his health. If I say not to switch, I'll have to live with you meeting regularly. You're right, Michael admitted. It's not fair. What do you think I should do? I think you should make the decision based on what you feel is right, Emily replied, without using me as an excuse for whatever choice you make. Michael thought for a long moment. If I'm completely honest, Jennifer is an excellent doctor, probably the best cardiologist I know. From a medical standpoint, it would be foolish to switch. And from a personal standpoint? From a personal standpoint, it's complicated. Not because of me, but because of the situation it creates between us. So, what's your decision? I'll continue with her, Michael said after a pause. But on one condition, you come with me to every appointment. No secrets, no private conversations, everything transparent. Emily considered the proposal. It was a compromise, and it showed Michael was willing to include her in the process. What if she doesn't agree? Then we'll switch doctors, Michael answered. But I think she'll agree. She doesn't want to cause problems for us either. All right, Emily said, returning to the couch. But Michael, I need you to understand something. If at any point I feel you're crossing professional boundaries, or if I discover more secrets, I won't just accept it. I understand, Michael said, taking her hand. And I agree. You have the right to be comfortable with the situation. At that moment, Michael's phone rang. It was a message from Jennifer about the initial echocardiogram results. She wants to schedule an appointment tomorrow to discuss the results. Michael read the message to Emily. And she asks if you'd like to be present. She asked that? She did. Michael showed the message to Emily. Emily felt surprised and, strangely, relieved. The fact that Jennifer had included her in the conversation seemed like a good sign. Tell her yes, I'll be there. Michael typed the response and sent it. A few seconds later, Jennifer replied, confirming the appointment for the next day at 2 in the afternoon. Done, Michael said. Tomorrow we'll handle this together. Emily nodded, feeling slightly more confident. At least there would be no more secrets. But deep down she knew the real test would be facing Jennifer again and seeing how they all behaved in a more controlled setting. The following afternoon, Michael and Emily arrived at Jennifer's office promptly at 2 o'clock. The office was in an upscale medical clinic in the Upper East Side, and it was clear Jennifer had built a successful career. The receptionist led them to a private waiting room, where they waited just a few minutes before Jennifer appeared. Good afternoon, she greeted them both professionally. How was your night, Michael? Any episodes recorded by the monitor? A few during the early hours, Michael replied. I woke up with my heart racing twice. That's normal considering what we're investigating, Jennifer reassured. Let's go to my office to discuss the results. Jennifer's office was elegant, but not ostentatious. There were some diplomas on the wall, including one from an American university. and a photo of her receiving a professional award. Emily noticed there were no visible personal photos. "Before we begin," Jennifer said, sitting behind the desk, "I'd like to clarify something. Emily, I know this whole situation is uncomfortable for you, and I want you to know I completely respect your relationship with Michael." "Thank you," Emily replied, surprised by the directness. "My intention is to be as transparent as possible," Jennifer continued. "Any questions you have, any concerns, please tell me. And if at any point you feel it would be better to transfer the case to another doctor, I'll understand completely." Michael and Emily exchanged glances. Jennifer's approach was professional and respectful, which made it harder to maintain a defensive posture. "Now, let's get to the results," Jennifer said, opening a folder with test results. The echocardiogram showed some irregularities in the heart's electrical conduction. "It's nothing serious at the moment, but it needs to be monitored." "What does that mean in practice?" Emily asked. "It means Michael's heart sometimes loses its rhythm," Jennifer explained patiently. "It's like a musician who occasionally loses the beat of the music. It's not immediately dangerous, but it could become so if left untreated." "And what's the treatment?" Michael asked. "First, medication to regulate the heart rhythm," Jennifer replied, "and lifestyle changes, less stress, regular but not intense exercise, balanced diet. And if the medication doesn't work, then we'll evaluate other options. But let's start conservatively and see how you respond." Jennifer began explaining the medication in detail, its side effects, and the importance of taking it regularly. Emily watched how she spoke, noticing she was genuinely didactic and careful, without rushing. "How often will we need to meet?" Michael asked. "Initially every 2 weeks to monitor how you respond to the medication," Jennifer answered. "Then, if all goes well, monthly for a few months." "And these appointments," Emily began hesitantly. "You're both always welcome," Jennifer completed, understanding the concern. "In fact, it would be better that way. Emily might observe symptoms at home that Michael might not notice or might forget to mention." "How so?" Emily asked. "Partners often notice changes in sleep, mood, or physical energy," Jennifer explained. "These are valuable pieces of information for medical follow-up." Emily felt included in the process in a way she hadn't expected. "Is there anything specific I should watch for?" "Trouble sleeping, excessive tiredness, mood changes, shortness of breath during simple activities," Jennifer listed, "and any episode of chest pain or intense palpitations." "Can you teach me how to measure his pulse?" Emily asked impulsively. Jennifer smiled for the first time since they started talking. "Of course. It's very easy." She demonstrated how to find the pulse on the wrist and neck, explaining what to look for and when to worry. Emily practiced first on herself, then on Michael. "Perfect," Jennifer said. "Now you can monitor at home if necessary." When they left the office, Emily felt much more confident about the situation. Jennifer had been professional, respectful, and inclusive. More importantly, she hadn't shown any signs of personal interest in Michael beyond the medical. "How do you feel?" Michael asked when they were in the car. "Better," Emily admitted. She was very professional. "You seem surprised." "I guess I was expecting—" "I don't know what I was expecting," Emily said. "Maybe some sign that there was something beyond the professional. And there wasn't." "Not that I noticed," Emily answered honestly. "She really seems focused only on your treatment. Does that make you feel more at ease?" "A little," Emily said. "But Michael, I still need you to be completely honest with me about your feelings. About Jennifer. About everything. About her. About me. About our marriage." Michael parked the car in front of Emily's building and turned to face her. "What do you want to know? When you're with her, do you feel anything beyond professional gratitude?" Michael thought carefully before answering. "I feel familiarity, like meeting an old friend. There's comfort in that, but it's not romantic." "Are you sure?" "I am," Michael said firmly. "Emily, I can admit that Jennifer will always have a special place in my story, but that doesn't diminish the place you have in my present and my future. What if she were still single and available?" "It remains an irrelevant question," Michael answered. "She's not interested in me romantically, and I'm not interested in her. We're at different places in our lives." Emily studied his face, looking for signs of doubt or lies, but Michael seemed sincere and confident in his words. "Okay," she said finally. "But if anything changes, if you start to feel anything different, you need to tell me immediately." "I promise," Michael said, kissing her hand. "And do you promise to give me a chance to prove that I'm committed to our relationship?" "I promise," Emily answered, leaning in to kiss him. When they parted, both felt more relieved than they had since the party episode. It seemed they were finally beginning to find a way through the complicated situation. In the 2 weeks that followed, life returned to a certain normality. Michael started taking the medication and reported feeling better. The episodes of palpitations decreased significantly, and he slept better at night. Emily attended 2 appointments with Jennifer, and with each meeting she felt more comfortable with the dynamic. Jennifer remained professional and respectful, always including Emily in explanations and decisions. 2 weeks before the wedding, however, an unexpected complication arose. Michael received a call from Jennifer on a Thursday evening. "Michael, I need to speak with you and Emily urgently," Jennifer said when he answered. "Can you come to my office tomorrow morning?" "Did something happen?" Michael asked, worried. "I need to show you some results. It's better we talk in person." Michael agreed and scheduled for 9 in the morning. When he hung up, Emily was by his side, equally concerned. "What do you think it could be?" she asked. "I don't know," Michael answered, clearly anxious, but her voice sounded serious. That night, neither of them slept well. Emily lay awake imagining scenarios, from simple problems to more serious situations that could affect not only Michael's health, but also their wedding plans. The next morning, they arrived at Jennifer's office 15 minutes early. She received them immediately, which confirmed the urgency of the situation. "Thank you for coming so quickly," Jennifer said, leading them to her office. "I received the results of some additional tests I ordered, and there's something we need to discuss." "Is it serious?" Emily asked directly. "It's not serious in the sense of immediate life-threatening risk," Jennifer answered carefully. "But it's more complex than we initially thought." Jennifer opened a folder with new test results and began to explain. "The latest electrocardiograms show the arrhythmia is becoming more frequent despite the medication." "What does that mean?" Michael asked. "It means we may need to consider a more definitive procedure," Jennifer said. "A pacemaker." The silence that followed was heavy. Emily automatically took Michael's hand as he processed the information. "A pacemaker," he repeated. "But I'm only 35. Age isn't the determining factor," Jennifer explained patiently. "What matters is ensuring your heart maintains a proper rhythm, and right now, the medication isn't enough." "Is it a complicated surgery?" Emily asked. "It's a relatively simple procedure, but it is surgery," Jennifer replied, "done under local anesthesia with a small incision to implant the device." "And if I don't do it?" Michael asked. "The arrhythmias could become more frequent and intense. In the worst-case scenario, it could lead to a more serious cardiac episode." Emily felt the world spin. 2 weeks before the wedding, Michael might need heart surgery. "When would it need to be done?" she asked. "Ideally within the next 2 weeks," Jennifer replied, "before the episodes become more severe." "Before our wedding," Michael said quietly. "Yes," Jennifer confirmed. "I'm sorry, I know the timing isn't ideal." Emily looked at Michael, seeing the disappointment and worry in his eyes. All the planning, all the preparations, and now this. "Can we reschedule the surgery for after the wedding?" Emily asked. "I wouldn't recommend it," Jennifer said honestly. "That would be taking an unnecessary risk. And the recovery from the surgery is relatively quick. 1 week of rest, and Michael would be fit to travel for the honeymoon." "Honeymoon," Michael repeated ironically. "Won't be very romantic with a newly implanted pacemaker." "Michael," Emily said firmly, "your health is more important than any trip." "I know," he sighed. "It's just... everything was going so well. The medication seemed to be working." "Sometimes these things take time to fully manifest," Jennifer explained. "The important thing is we found out before something more serious happened." "Do we have to decide now?" Emily asked. "Not today, but within the next few days," Jennifer replied. "I need to schedule the surgery, and coordinate with the cardiac surgeon. Cardiac surgeon? Michael asked. You wouldn't perform the surgery? I would participate as the cardiologist, but the surgery would be performed by Dr. Thomas Miller. He's the best cardiac surgeon in the city for this type of procedure. After leaving the office, Michael and Emily went to a nearby cafe to process the information. Neither of them quite knew what to say. How are you feeling? Emily finally asked. Scared, Michael admitted. Not so much about the surgery, but about what it means for our life. It means we'll face this together, Emily said, taking his hand across the table. Just like we promised we would. Even if it means canceling the honeymoon, even if it means canceling anything, Emily replied without hesitation. Michael, I love you. Sick or healthy, with a pacemaker or without. That doesn't change anything between us. And the wedding? What about the wedding? Maybe we should reschedule, Michael suggested hesitantly. For after the surgery, when I'm fully recovered. Do you want to reschedule? Emily asked. I don't want to, Michael answered honestly. But I also don't want our wedding to be overshadowed by medical problems. Emily thought for a moment. What if we keep the date? You have the surgery next week and we get married as planned. If you're feeling well, of course. You would do that? Michael asked, surprised. Of course I would. In fact, I think it would be perfect, Emily said, smiling for the first time that day. We'll get married when you're feeling better, knowing the heart problem has been resolved. What if something goes wrong with the surgery? Nothing will go wrong, Emily said firmly, and if it does, we'll handle it, together. Michael looked at her with an expression Emily had never seen before. It was a mixture of love, gratitude, and admiration. How did I get so lucky to find you? He asked softly. We were lucky to find each other, she corrected, and we'll continue to be lucky for many years. They decided to call Jennifer that same day to confirm the surgery. She managed to schedule it for the following Tuesday, which would give Michael enough time to recover before the wedding on Saturday. When they told Patricia Richardson about the surgery, she reacted predictably. Excessive worry and insistence that Michael have the procedure at a more expensive private hospital. Mom, Dr. Miller is the best in the city, Michael tried to calm her. And Jennifer will be overseeing the entire process. Thank goodness Jennifer is taking care of you, Patricia sighed. At least we have someone we can trust. Emily noticed once again how Mrs. Richardson referred to Jennifer as we, including her in the family in a way she never did with her. Mrs. Richardson, Emily said carefully, I'll also be there during the surgery, keeping an eye on everything. Of course, dear, Patricia replied distractedly. But it's reassuring to know Jennifer is professionally involved. Emily decided not to comment, but stored the observation to discuss with Michael later. The night before the surgery, Michael was visibly nervous. He and Emily had dinner at home, but he barely touched his food. Do you want to talk about what's worrying you? Emily asked. What if something goes wrong? Michael said, voicing his fears. What if I don't wake up from the anesthesia? What if there are complications? Michael, this is a routine procedure, Emily tried to reassure him. Dr. Miller has done hundreds of these. I know, but... He stopped, unable to fully articulate his fears. But what? If something happens to me, will you be okay? He asked, looking into her eyes. Nothing will happen, Emily said firmly. But if it did, eventually I would be okay. We all would. But I'd rather not think about it because it won't be necessary. I love you so much, Michael said, pulling her into a hug. I love you too, she replied, feeling him tremble slightly. And tomorrow night we'll be here again, with you feeling much better. On the morning of the surgery, they arrived at the hospital at 6 a.m. Jennifer was already there, talking with the medical staff about the procedures. How are you feeling? She asked Michael. Nervous, he admitted. That's completely normal, Jennifer reassured him. I'll be in the room throughout the entire procedure, monitoring your vital signs. Thank you, Michael said, for everything. No need to thank me, Jennifer replied. It's my job. Emily observed the interaction, noting that Jennifer maintained her usual professional distance. There were no signs of personal favoritism or intimacy beyond what was appropriate. When it was time for Michael to go into the operating room, Emily kissed him and wished him luck. "I'll see you in a few hours," she said. "I love you," he replied. "Love you too." Jennifer accompanied Michael to the operating room, and Emily went to the waiting room, where she found Mrs. Richardson already settled with magazines and a thermos of coffee. "How are you, dear?" Patricia asked. "Nervous," Emily admitted. "Jennifer said it's a simple procedure," Patricia commented. "She called me last night to reassure me." Emily felt a twinge of irritation. Jennifer had called Michael's mother, but hadn't found it necessary to call her the fiancée. "Did she call you?" Emily asked, trying to sound casual. "She did." "How thoughtful, isn't she?" Patricia said. "She's always been very attentive to details." Emily decided not to comment, but made a mental note to speak with Michael about appropriate boundaries once he recovered. The surgery lasted 3 hours, longer than expected. When Jennifer finally appeared in the waiting room, Emily and Patricia immediately stood up. "How is he?" Emily asked. "The surgery was a complete success," Jennifer said, smiling. "The pacemaker was implanted perfectly, and Michael is waking up in the recovery room." "Thank God," Patricia sighed, spontaneously hugging Jennifer. "When can I see him?" Emily asked. "In about an hour, when he's fully awake," Jennifer replied. "But I can tell you he's already asking for both of you." "Asking for both of us," Emily repeated. "Yes, the first thing he said when he woke up was, 'How are Emily and my mother?'" Jennifer explained. Emily felt relieved and emotional. Even drowsy from anesthesia, Michael had thought of her first. When they were finally able to visit Michael, he was pale but alert. There was a small bandage on his chest, but he seemed in good spirits. "How do you feel?" Emily asked, kissing his forehead. "Much better than expected," Michael replied. "A bit sore, but nothing unbearable." "The doctor said you can be discharged tomorrow," Patricia informed him. "Great," Michael said. "That gives me the rest of the week to recover before the wedding." "Do you still want to keep the date?" Emily asked. "More than ever," Michael replied, taking her hand. "I want to marry you exactly as we planned." "Even with a pacemaker?" "Especially with a pacemaker," Michael smiled. "Now you have the guarantee that my heart will beat properly for many years." Emily laughed, feeling a joy and relief she hadn't felt in weeks. The worst was over, and they could finally focus on their future together. Jennifer appeared in the room later to check how Michael was feeling and explain the post-operative care. "For the next 2 weeks, no heavy lifting or sudden movements with your left arm," she instructed. "After that, normal activities." "What about the honeymoon?" Michael asked. 2 weeks after surgery, you can travel normally," Jennifer replied. "Just avoid very physical activities in the first few days." "Thank you for everything, Jennifer," Emily said sincerely. "You took such good care of him." "It was my pleasure," Jennifer replied, "and early congratulations on the wedding. I'm sure it will be beautiful." "Will you be there?" Patricia asked suddenly. Jennifer looked from Patricia to Emily, clearly uncomfortable. "I don't know if that would be appropriate." "Of course it would," Patricia insisted. "You saved my son's life. You're practically family." Emily felt the familiar irritation with her mother-in-law's comments, but before she could respond, Michael intervened. "Mum, I think that's a decision for Jennifer to make," he said diplomatically. "Thank you for the invitation, Mrs. Richardson," Jennifer said, "but I think it's better not to. This is a special time for you as a family, and my presence might create unnecessary complications." Emily felt grateful for Jennifer's sensitivity, and even more grateful when Michael agreed with her. "Jennifer is right," he said. "It's better to keep things simple." Patricia seemed disappointed but didn't press the matter. In the following days, Michael's recovery progressed quickly. The pain medication was reduced, he returned to sleeping well, and most importantly, there were no episodes of arrhythmia. "The pacemaker is working perfectly," Jennifer confirmed at the follow-up appointment 3 days before the wedding. "Your heart rhythm is completely normal." "And for the wedding?" Emily asked. "He can dance, he can toast, he can do everything normally," Jennifer smiled. "Just avoid very intense physical activities for a few more days." "I think we can manage to control ourselves," Michael laughed. When they left the office that day, Emily felt happier and more confident than she had in months. The medical crisis had been resolved, the problems with Jennifer had been cleared up, and they were just days away from getting married. "How are you feeling about everything?" Michael asked when they were in the car. "Relieved," Emily answered honestly, "and grateful. Grateful that you're well, grateful that Jennifer was so professional, grateful that we got through this together." "And about Jennifer, do you still feel uncomfortable?" "Not in the way I did before," Emily said thoughtfully. "I think seeing how she handled all this showed me that she really has no romantic interest in you." "How so?" "If she still loved you, she would have used the medical situation to get closer to you, but she did exactly the opposite. She kept her distance, included me in everything, was respectful of our relationship. And that convinced you?" "It convinced me that she is a person of integrity who respects our relationship," Emily said. "And it convinced me that you really chose to be with me." "I always chose to be with you," Michael said, taking her hand. "I know that now," Emily replied. "But for a while, especially after the party, I doubted it. And now? Now I don't doubt anymore." The wedding took place as planned the following Saturday. The ceremony was at the Brooklyn Botanic Garden, followed by a reception at the same club where Michael had fainted weeks before. Emily was radiant in her wedding dress, and Michael, despite the small bandage still visible on his chest, was happier than ever. During the ceremony, when they exchanged vows, both were moved as they remembered everything they had been through to reach that moment. "I promise to take care of your health as much as my own," Emily said in her improvised vows. "And I promise to never hide anything from you again," Michael replied, making her smile through her tears. The party was perfect. Michael danced with Emily, toasted with friends, and enjoyed himself without any heart problems. The pacemaker had truly solved the problem. During the party, Patricia approached Emily during a moment when she was alone. "Emily, dear, I need to apologize to you," the mother-in-law said unexpectedly. "Apologies for what, Mrs. Richardson?" "For how I behaved throughout this whole period with Jennifer," Patricia admitted. "I know it wasn't easy for you, and I realize I was sometimes insensitive." Emily was surprised. It was the first time Mrs. Richardson had shown this kind of self-criticism. "Thank you for saying that," Emily replied sincerely. "Jennifer was important in Michael's life, and I will always be grateful to her for that," Patricia continued. "But you are his present and his future, and I should have recognized that more clearly." "Mrs. Richardson, we were all in a difficult situation," Emily said generously. "The important thing is that we came out the other side more united." "You are a good person, Emily," Patricia said, hugging her daughter-in-law. "My son was lucky to find you." Later that evening, when the party was winding down and guests were starting to leave, Michael and Emily sat for a moment on the club's veranda, watching the illuminated garden. "How are you feeling?" Emily asked, worried that he might be overexerting himself. "I've never felt better," Michael answered honestly. "Physically, emotionally, everything is perfect. No regrets about the pacemaker." "None, actually, I'm grateful," Michael said. "If it weren't for this, maybe we would never have resolved all the pending issues about Jennifer, about communication, about trust." "That's true," Emily agreed. "In a strange way, the crisis brought us closer." "And made me realize how much you love me," Michael added. "The way you handled everything, how you supported me, how mature you were about Jennifer's situation. I learned that love sometimes means facing fears and insecurities," Emily reflected, "and that trust is built through difficult moments, not just the easy ones." "I'm looking forward to our honeymoon," Michael said, shifting to a lighter tone. "Where did we decide to go again?" "The Hawaiian Islands," Emily asked, pretending not to remember. 2 weeks at a seaside inn, no commitments, no doctors, no drama." "Perfect," Emily sighed contentedly. "Just the two of us and the ocean. And your pacemaker." "And my pacemaker," Michael agreed, laughing, "which will ensure my heart beats at the right rhythm for you for the next 50 years. "Only 50? Emily joked. "Okay, 60, Michael negotiated. "Deal." They kissed under the stars, knowing they had faced together one of the biggest challenges a couple can face: health issues, ex-partners, family secrets, and personal insecurities. 6 months later, during a routine checkup with Jennifer, she gave them the best possible news. "The pacemaker is working perfectly," she said, showing the test results. "Your heartbeats are completely regular, with no arrhythmia detected. "Does that mean the problem is permanently resolved?" Emily asked. "It means you can live a completely normal life without worrying about heart problems," Jennifer confirmed. "Michael will need annual checkups, but that's standard for anyone with a pacemaker." "And can he exercise?" Emily asked. "He can do anything he wants," Jennifer smiled. "Run, swim, even more intense sports if he wants. The pacemaker automatically adjusts to the body's demands." "That's amazing," Michael said, clearly relieved. "There's one more thing," Jennifer said, hesitating slightly. "This will probably be our last appointment." "What do you mean?" Emily asked. "I received an offer to head the cardiology department at a hospital in Chicago," Jennifer explained. "It's a professional opportunity I can't refuse." "When are you leaving?" Michael asked. "Next month, but don't worry. I'll transfer your care to Dr. White, who knows your entire case." Emily felt a mix of emotions. On one hand, she would feel more at ease without Jennifer's constant presence in their lives. On the other, she felt genuine gratitude for the cardiologist who had taken such good care of Michael. "Jennifer," she said impulsively, "thank you for everything you did for Michael. And thank you for being so professional and respectful of our relationship." "Thank you for giving me a chance to prove that," Jennifer replied sincerely. "And congratulations on your marriage. You make a beautiful couple together." "We'll miss you," Michael said. "As our doctor, I mean." "Dr. White is excellent," Jennifer assured. "You're in good hands." When they left the office that day, Emily felt as if a chapter of their lives was finally closing in the most positive way possible. "How do you feel about Jennifer leaving?" she asked Michael. "Relieved," he answered without hesitation. "Not because there's anything wrong with her, but because it definitively closes that page of the past." "Will you miss her?" "I'll miss the security of having a doctor I completely trust," Michael said honestly, "but I won't miss the emotional complication." "For me too," Emily agreed. "She's a good person, an excellent doctor, but our life is simpler without her." That same day they received even better news. Emily had discovered she was pregnant. "Are you sure?" Michael asked, looking at the pregnancy test for the 5th time. "3 tests, Michael." "I'm pregnant," Emily laughed, emotional. "And the pacemaker? Is there any problem?" "Absolutely none," Emily said. "I've researched everything. Pacemakers don't affect fertility or pregnancy." "We're going to be parents," Michael said, still processing the information. "We're going to be parents," Emily confirmed. They hugged, laughing and crying at the same time. After everything they had been through together, this news seemed like the perfect reward for all the turbulence of the previous year. "Is your heart strong enough to be a father?" Emily joked. "My heart has never been stronger," Michael replied, placing his hand on his chest, where the pacemaker worked silently to maintain his perfect heart rhythm. 9 months later, Michael held his newborn daughter in his arms, his heart beating steady and regular, monitored by the small device that had initially seemed like a complication, but which he now understood as a blessing in disguise. "What should we name her?" Emily asked, watching her husband gently rock the baby. "Grace," Michael said without hesitation, "because she represents our victory over everything that tried to keep us apart." "Grace Richardson," Emily repeated, smiling. "Perfect." As he watched his new family, Michael reflected on how life can take unexpected turns that, in the end, lead exactly where they need to lead. The fainting spell at the engagement party had seemed like a catastrophe, but it had resulted in his health being completely restored, his relationship with Emily being strengthened beyond what he thought possible, and now, a beautiful and healthy family. Emily, seeing Michael so happy and confident, finally understood that sometimes the obstacles in life don't exist to destroy us, but to show us what we are truly capable of when we face challenges together. "I love you," she murmured to Michael. "I love you more," he replied, kissing Emily first, then little Grace's forehead. The pacemaker continued its silent work, ensuring Michael's heart beat to the right rhythm for all the special moments still to come. End of story. Now tell us what you thought of the story and where you're watching from. If you have something to share with us, leave it in the comments with sincere words. Do you think Emily made the right decisions throughout this whole situation? We look forward to reading your opinion. Thank you so much for your company. Don't forget to leave your like and, most importantly, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss other exciting stories.